The room hushed as my brother raised his glass, his voice ringing with that familiar showman's flair. To new beginnings, new homes, and he paused, eyes glinting, to Pop's memory. A solemn nod rippled through the crowd at his Portland housewarming party, the sting of our grandfather's passing just 5 days ago still raw. I lifted my glass, my throat tight, honoring the man who'd been my rock. But then my brother, Ethan, set his drink down with a flourish, pulling an envelope from his pocket. "I've got an announcement," he said, his voice carrying over the chatter. "Before Pop passed, he gave me this letter. He wanted me to have the lakeside cabin, the one we all loved as kids." The room buzzed with gasps and claps. My parents beamed. Ethan's fiancée, Leela, squealed. But my cousin Mara's eyes met mine, confused. My heart plummeted. That cabin was Pop's treasure, and for years, I'd been the one there nearly every weekend, fixing the dock, painting the shutters, listening to his stories. Ethan? He'd shown up maybe 3 times in a decade, griping about the spotty cell service. I'm Mia Callahan, 31, a graphic designer who thought I knew my family's fault lines. But this felt like theft. Because 3 weeks ago, Pop had given me a carved oak box, telling me to open it when the time's right. Inside was a notarized deed, signed and dated, making the cabin mine. It wasn't part of his estate, it was already mine. So why was Ethan waving a letter, claiming Pop's wishes? "Congrats, Ethan," I said, forcing a smile, my mind racing. His glance my way held a flicker of something guilt, triumph. I needed to check that deed. Excusing myself to the bathroom, I shut the door, leaned against it, and exhaled. Pop's signature on Ethan's letter had looked too clean, too steady, unlike the shaky scrawl of his arthritis-plagued hand. My phone buzzed. "Mara, you okay?" Ethan barely cared about the cabin. "Weird." I texted back. "Need to check something at home. Cover for me?" "Say work called." Mara, bless her, spun a story about a client emergency, and I slipped out the back door, the party's laughter fading behind me, driving to my apartment. The city lights blurred as memories of Pop flooded in, teaching me to bait a hook, pointing out Orion's belt, chuckling at my lopsided birdhouses. The cabin wasn't just a place. It was our sanctuary, where Pop taught me patience, grit, and the beauty of quiet moments. Ethan had scoffed at those, too busy chasing flashier thrills. His claim felt like a violation, a betrayal of Pop's hard-dotted home. I grabbed the oak box from my closet, its cedar scent still strong. Pop's words echoed. "Don't open this till you need the truth, Mia." My hands shook as I lifted the lid. There it was, the notarized deed, dated 7 months ago, naming me owner. A letter in Pop's wobbly handwriting read, "My dearest Mia, by the time you read this, I'll likely be gone. The cabin's yours, given now to avoid any fuss. You loved it like I did." Ethan only cared when it suited him, hosting parties when I was away. I know he might fight this, so it's all legal. Filed with my lawyer, Clara Vance. Keep its spirit alive. Tears stung my eyes. There was also a brass key to Pop's old pine desk at the cabin and a sealed envelope labeled Ethan. Pop had planned for this. Ethan's letter was a lie, he'd fabricated it, knowing the cabin was mine. My phone lit up with texts, Mom asking where I'd gone, Ethan with a smug, "Nice exit. You can visit the cabin if you ask nicely." Rage flared, but I wouldn't fire back yet. This needed to be face to face. I tucked the documents into the box and checked the time. Ethan's party would still be going. Wiping my tears, I headed back to my car. Pop always said, "Truth doesn't need a megaphone, Mia. It hits hardest when it's steady." I'd do this his way, no scene. Just a quiet weight of facts. Back at Ethan's, I parked a block away. The oak box on the passenger seat. I sat for a moment, steadying myself. Pop's voice rang clear. "Do the right thing with grace." I texted Mara. "How many people left?" She replied, "Just family now. Guests gone. You coming?" Perfect, no crowd for this. Carrying the box, I knocked. Ethan answered, his grin fading to suspicion. "Work things sorted already?" he asked, skeptical. "We need to talk," I said, brushing past him into the living room. Heads turned. "Mom, Dad, Leela, Mara." Mom chirped, Mia's back. But her smile waned as she saw my expression. Dad was rereading Ethan's letter, frowning, while Leela chatted about cabin upgrades. Mara gave me a nod, her eyes sharp. I need to address Ethan's news, I said, setting the box on the coffee table. Ethan's gaze locked on it, a flash of recognition in his eyes. What's that? He asked, voice tight. Something Pop gave me 3 weeks ago, I said, keeping my tone even. He said not to open it until the time was right. That time's now. Dad leaned forward. What is it, Mia? I opened the box, pulling out the deed and Pop's letter. 7 months ago, Pop transferred the cabin to me. It's legally mine, not part of his estate. I laid the documents out. The room went silent. Mom's jaw dropped. Dad picked up the deed, brow furrowed. It's notarized, Dad said, scanning it. And this is Pop's signature. That's impossible, Ethan blurted, his face paling. Pop gave me the letter, he wanted me to have it. Can I see your letter? I asked. Dad handed it over. I placed it beside Pop's letter. The difference was glaring. Ethan's was too neat, the signature too smooth, missing Pop's arthritic tremble. Ethan, Mom said, her voice low, did you forge this? His silence screamed guilt. The room held its breath. You don't get it, Ethan finally said, defiance mixing with panic. It's not fair she gets everything. Everything? I echoed, stunned. What are you talking about? You were Pop's favorite, he spat, words tumbling out. Always at the cabin, fixing things, laughing with him. The rest of us were invisible. Dad cleared his throat uneasy. Ethan, forging Pop's signature is serious. Mom grabbed both letters, comparing them. Her face fell. Oh, Ethan, how could you? Leela stood, her voice shaky. I should go. She grabbed her bag, dodging Ethan's plea. Leela, wait, and left, the door clicking shut. Why, Ethan? Dad asked, voice heavy. Why announce this without checking? The will readings next week. Ethan's face burned with shame. I found out about the deed, he admitted. I was at Clara Vance's office, asking about the estate. She said the cabin was already handled, not in the will. She wouldn't say more, but I knew it went to Mia. I thought, if I claimed it first, maybe she'd back off. Maybe everyone would believe me for once. Maybe I'd let you have it? Mom pressed, incredulous. Ethan's voice rose. Maybe I'd finally have something Pop cared about. His words hit like a stone, revealing a jealousy I hadn't seen. I felt a pang of pity. Had he felt so left out? Ethan, I said, softer. Pop invited you to the cabin all the time. You always said you were too busy. I felt like an outsider. He shot back. You two had your bond, your stories, your traditions. I didn't fit. Dad shook his head. That doesn't justify lying to us all. Ethan slumped, the fight draining from him. So what now? This isn't about winning, I said, thinking of Pop. Despite Ethan's stunt, he was my brother, and Pop loved him. I reached into the box, pulling out the envelope with Ethan's name. Pop left this for you. Ethan's eyes widened, wary but hopeful. What is it? I don't know, I said honestly. He told me not to open anything not addressed to me. He took the envelope, hands trembling, and read. His face shifted defiance to shock, then something like grief. He knew, Ethan whispered. He knew I might try this. Mom moved closer. What does it say? Ethan handed her the letter. Read it. Everyone should hear. Mom adjusted her glasses and began. Dear Ethan, if you're reading this, Mia's opened my oak box, meaning I'm gone or something's forced her to reveal its truth. I've known you since you were born, and I know your heart. You crave recognition, which I maybe didn't give you the way you needed. But I also know when you feel overlooked, you make choices that hurt others and yourself. The cabin's Mia's, given with love, not because I loved you less, but because she cherished it like I did. You saw it as a party spot, not a home. What you need isn't property, it's purpose. I've enclosed a $20,000 check. Use it to build something yours, a business, a passion, maybe that craft brewery you mentioned years ago. Mia will keep the cabin's door open, I'm sure, but your path isn't creating your own legacy. With love, Pop. Mom's voice broke as she finished. Ethan clutched the check, head bowed. He saw through me, he murmured, even now. Dad rested a hand on Ethan's shoulder. Pop was sharp. He knew us all. Ethan looked at me raw. I'm sorry, Mia. I had no right to take what was yours. I nodded, not fully ready to forgive, but hearing him. There's more, I said, pulling a photo album from the box. I opened it us as kids at the cabin, building forts, grilling fish with Pop. He kept this in his desk. He never gave up on you. Ethan's eyes glistened as he flipped through. I really screwed up. Yeah, I said, not softening it. But Pop thought you could do better. Silence settled. Heavy but not hostile. Mara spoke up. So, what now? I closed the box, feeling Pop's trust not just in the cabin, but in mending what was broken. We tried to honor what Pop wanted for us both. The party dissolved soon after. Mom and Dad left, casting worried glances at Ethan. Mara hugged me, whispering, "Call me tomorrow." Then it was just Ethan and me in his half-decorated house, the festive vibe gone. Ethan fumbled in the kitchen, making coffee we didn't drink. I didn't plan the forgery, he said, breaking the quiet. When I learned about the deed, I was pissed. I made the letter that night, not thinking I'd use it. Then why did you? I asked, gripping the cold mug. He stared at his coffee. Tonight, with everyone here, I wanted something bigger than a new house to show off. It just came out. He looked up, vulnerable. I've always been jealous of you and Pop. You could have had that, I said, not unkindly. He wanted you there. I know now, Ethan admitted. I was too stubborn to see it. He paused. What'll you do with the cabin? Keep it as is mostly, I said. It needs work, but I won't change its soul. He nodded, relieved. Good. It should stay Pop's way. You're welcome there, you know, I said. Anytime. His eyes widened. Even after this? Pop wanted the cabin to unite us, not split us, I said. I'm still mad, and trust's not back yet. But the door's open. Ethan exhaled, understanding the boundary. Thanks. We sat in silence, the coffee untouched, the night's weight settling. Think Pop knew this would happen? Ethan asked as I stood to leave. The cabin fight? I thought of Pop's careful planning, the deed, the letters, the box's timing. He hoped it wouldn't, I said, but he was ready if it did. Ethan gave a wry smile. Always 3 steps ahead. Always, I agreed. Driving home, the box beside me, I felt a mix of grief, relief, and fragile hope. The cabin's keys jingled in my pocket, heavy with memory and duty. Pop had entrusted me with more than property, a chance to heal our family, starting with Ethan, if he'd meet me halfway. The next morning, I drove to the cabin. The cedar siding glowed in the dawn, the lake shimmering beyond. I sat in my car, taking it in. This was mine, not just a place, but a legacy. I could almost see Pop on the porch, his old cap low, napping in the sun. Inside, everything was as he'd left it, books stacked, fishing rods lined up, the faint whiff of his pipe smoke lingering. I walked to the pine desk, using the brass key to open it. Inside were folders for each family member, Pop's brag book. Ethan's held clippings of his soccer wins, his job promotions, even a photo of him grinning at the cabin as a kid. Pop had seen him, even when Ethan didn't feel it. My phone buzzed. Mara. Cabin okay? Mom says Ethan's a mess, calling everyone to explain. I replied, cabin's perfect. Ethan's got work to do. Another text. He's torn up. Your parents are still reeling. I wasn't surprised. Trust took time to rebuild. Standing at the lake window, the water calm, I whispered, I'm here, Pop. I'll keep it safe. 3 weeks later, Ethan texted, can we talk? At the cabin? I hesitated, then sent a time and date. Part of me wasn't ready to share this place, but Pop's words echoed, forgiveness is for you too, Mia. When Ethan arrived, I was on the porch swing, coffee in hand. He looked subdued, the lake reflecting in his eyes. This place never changes, he said. That's the point, I replied, nodding to a chair. He sat, fidgeting. I've been trying to find the words, he said. I'm sorry for the letter, for being jealous, for shutting Pop out when I should have shown up. I studied him, searching for truth. Why'd you do it? Really? He looked at the lake. I thought the cabin could make up for what I missed with Pop, like owning it would fix the gap. Dumb, right? Not dumb, I said. Just wrong. He nodded. I used the check. Signed up for a brewing course. Pop always said I'd like it. I'm awful at it. But I'm sticking with it. I smiled faintly. He'd love that. We sat, the lake's gentle lapping filling the quiet. I've got something for you, I said, leading him to Pop's desk. I opened Ethan's folder, showing him the clippings and photos. He was proud of you. He just showed it his way. Ethan's hands shook as he looked. I had no idea. You messed up, I said, but Pop believed in second chances. So do I. I handed him a calendar. These are weekends I'll be here for repairs. Could use help, even from a bad brewer. He grinned, tentative. Really? Pop wanted this place to bring us together, I said. That's the deal. Later, we sat on the dock, feet in the water, tossing around ideas for fixing the boathouse. You know, Ethan said, squinting at the sunset, Pop didn't just give you the cabin. He gave you his job keeping us tied to what matters. As the sky turned gold, I felt it. Pop's trust wasn't just in the deed, it was in me. To mend what was broken, to keep the cabin's heart alive. Ethan's lie had nearly torn us apart, but Pop's truth, quiet, steady, had brought us back. The cabin wasn't just a place, it was a promise, and I'd honor it, for both of us.